Well, hello and welcome to the Marines podcast with me, Samo Minta Eyim, on the Odumankuma Maritime News YouTube channel. This week we are looking at the tale of disappearing cities. Well, so this week we are looking at the tale of disappearing cities, this concept of coastal erosion. Well, over the years, many countries are losing land and losing coastal cities to the ocean, be it that the ocean is taking over lands over many countries across the world. It is a concept that science terms as coastal erosion, one that has put a lot of government into a lot of financial situation because a lot of money has been pumped into making sure that these cities are defended against the water that is coming into the land. Well, coastal erosion is generally the migration of the seawater towards the land. That is, the seawater gaining grounds and entering into land areas. So imagine there is a building A at a particular site, which is 5 kilometers from the sea. But then in 10-20 years time, you return to the place and you see that that building is now 4 kilometers from the sea. One thing that will be clear to you is that the building did not migrate, but the ocean did, and the sea had rather moved towards the land and into the land. Well, coastal erosion is also one thing that we could look at in various forms and sects. But to get into detail, coastal erosion could be due to a lot of factors. One of the things being the sea level rising. And when we say sea level rise, we are saying that the sea level is gaining an inch in terms of its height. And because the sea is being held together by boundaries, which is the land, that means that if the sea wants to increase in height by 1 centimeter, it cannot just go up and stand in a vacuum without any support. So it will rather prefer to lean landwards, and when it's leaning landwards, it encroaches into land. So this whole idea of sea level rises, the sea is gaining height, but because we know the sea is not going in a standstill position but held by boundaries like the land, that means that when the sea is going up, it leans towards the land, and when it leans towards the land, that means that a bit of the land will be lost because of the sea that has gained an inch of a height. So sea level rise could lead to coastal erosion where water is carving areas that were initially land. Also, the concept of waves could also lead to coastal erosion. So waves is generally the water sending energy onto the coast. You could imagine it in this sense that the ocean has, let's say, a device. It could be a pen, it could be a bulldozer, it could be anything, and it is striking the land with this device almost all the time. So when it consistently, almost every 10 seconds, is doing this, then that means that over time it is going to fracture the nature of the land and make the land wash away. So this differs from one location to another. One country would have, let's say, the ocean sending energy that would be like someone using a pen to strike, let's say, a table. Yes, the person might cause some distraction, but it will take a longer time for this distraction to be noted because we could say the pen is lightweight. However, imagine at a different place that the ocean is using something of the magnitude or the size of a bulldozer to strike the land. The distraction will be massive and to be visible within a short time. So we say the action of waves differ from one place to another because of the nature of the coast, how the shape of the coast is, whether you have a straight line coast or there are some headlands that shoot into the water so serve as various defense for you and all that. But not to go into the full technicalities of it. Also, one thing that we could look at is the one thing science terms as a storm surge. So storm surge, ideally, or in a general sense, is when we have these magnitudes of rushing water just coming into land at a particular point in time and for a particular period, and it comes in and it goes. So it does not come with a particular pattern, and this could be due to the action of winds, hurricanes, and what have you. So storm surge could also lead to coastal erosion in addition to the waves, in addition to sea level as well. Also, one thing that could cause coastal erosion is us, because let's say There are activities where at some places you go and you see people digging sand from the beach for various activities and all that. In doing so, we weaken the structure of the beaches and it makes it easier for the beaches to be eroded away, among many other things. So it's not just nature that could lead to coastal erosion. Also, man can aid coastal erosion and man could contribute to coastal erosion. The impact of coastal erosion, however, varies from one place to another. It could be different. So you go to, let's say, one particular country and you go to one particular beach and you will notice that that place, maybe you were there 20, 30 years ago, where the sea was, there's been almost zero change or no visible change. But then you go to another place and you could clearly see that no, this land was here or this building was here, and now this building has been washed and is almost covered completely in the sea. So this concept of coastal erosion varies, and it depends on the ocean physics at the location. It depends on the nature of the location in terms of how the place really looks like. Generally speaking, the shape of the land around that place could also play a factor in all these kind of things. You could look at it in this way. Let's say a beach that has sand and a beach that has rocks. You clearly see that when the rocks are receiving the same action, the same energy on them as a place that is sand, that means that the place that is sand would likely go faster than the place that is rock if they are subjected to the same amount of impact from the ocean water and what have you. This whole thing of coastal erosion is leading to countries losing land and losing cities, among other things. In Ghana, for instance, along the eastern side close to Togo, a lot of land is being lost, and this is because the seawater keeps encroaching and keeps moving into the land. There's, however, been ways to try and hold this, and this is what a lot of countries are doing, the concept of having coastal defense systems. So in solving coastal erosion, there are two ways that we could go about it. Either through natural, we just allow the sea to do what it is, and maybe if there are people within the place, relocate the people from that place to another place, and then allow the sea to take over the land, and no one is hurt, no one is harmed, and everything is safe. The other one is also through man's intervention, which is an engineering concept where there could be defense structures put in place to hold the land and to ensure that the land is resistant to what the sea is bringing. And this could be in various forms and various ways that man can design engineering processes to help with this concept as well. But one thing I want to share is the concept of dealing with these kind of things regionally rather than locally. So regionally, in the sense that when you look at this whole issue of coastal erosion and how the impact varies and all that, when you try to solve it at one particular place, it does not lead to a complete solution. Mostly what you are doing is you are rather moving the impact to a different location. So rather than, let's say, a particular town council or a particular city state trying to solve their own issue, the best thing would be that, let's say, a country is working with the neighboring countries to ensure that there is a holistic approach to defending the coast of the region. So let's say West Africa, if there is a holistic approach by the countries along the Gulf of Guinea, then that means that the solution is not just being dealt with in Ghana to migrate it to Togo or dealt with in Nigeria to migrate it to neighboring countries. No, but it is done in a way that every country within the zone is well protected and well served or saved from the concept of coastal erosion. It takes a lot of money to solve coastal erosion problems because engineering of this kind takes tons and tons of money, and it needs consistent maintenance and checks to ensure that they are in full strength to curb coastal erosion. So in Ghana, there's been the concept of some of these lands being lost, and over the years, we've seen the lands of Agaveji, Salakope, and Amuchinu. These lands are being eroded along the eastern coast of Ghana towards Togo. It's not just about Ghana alone, it's happening in a lot of countries. And some countries are better placed to put up good engineering processes to solve this. But in some countries also too, the engineering is also one thing, and then the finance that comes into it is also another thing. That the government will even trust the process to pump lots of money into coastal defense is one that could also be argued among many other things. So we could go on and on with this concept of coastal erosion, But for this week, this is a Marines podcast. You could get this podcast every Monday on the Odumankuma Maritime News YouTube channel. Also remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Odumankuma Maritime News YouTube channel, or log on to odumankumanews.com for more on the maritime space. Also, if you want to get interactive on Facebook and LinkedIn, it's Samo Minti Eyim. Also on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Eyim Minta. You could also get interactive, and if there are specific topics that you would like the Marines podcast to cover, we would look at it and give you insight into these various issues that are trending within the marine environment, in these issues that we need to pay particular attention and deal with. So till same time next week, my name is Samo Minti Eyim, and see you next time.